Mine too. Oh.
All right. We are live in California and live in Houston, Texas, Sugarland, right? Hey,
Yes,
Kenny?
yes. To be
Um,
specific, yes.
my name's Angelica Corral with What in the World Events. And today we have an amazing superstar who I really love. We always have him in our audio rooms, and he's always inviting people. And he's just such a cuddly, warm character, and he's a very talented one. And we're gonna get to know a little bit more about Kenny, uh, Kenny Dunner Jr. So happy to have you here, Kenny. Special guest of the day, and he's gonna share a few tidbits, secrets about his scientific discovery. I'm going to be asking him a few questions, and we're going to start off with Kenny. Where are you originally from? We know you're in Texas now.
Hmm.
Um, so where are you originally from, though?
I am originally from Harlem, Manhattan, New York City.
Nice, nice.
So I'm a
So
native New
tell me
York.
what it was like growing up.
Well, it's been a very good experience growing up in Harlem. Middle class family, middle class neighborhood. Um, Great childhood. Um, Times were simpler back then because back then we had no computers, no cell phones, although technical kind of stuff never existed. We always go outside and play, have our exercise. So
Mm-hmm.
it was fun.
Nice, nice. I can imagine you being one of the kids in class that would crack jokes because you're always so happy and joyful.
Um, Actually, I was pretty quiet. I was a quiet student in my early years. I was shy.
You were shy, so you saved all of that for later for us.
Yes, absolutely. I came out of my shyness many years later with a vengeance.
And I love it. And I think we were talking about that earlier on about how your mom had a lot to do with that, helping you to speak up, right?
Absolutely. As long as I can remember, she would tell me to speak up, speak up, speak up, because I've always seen her speak up, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. She'll let you have it. And I do the same thing.
Ah, I love it. I love it. Well, I lived in New York for a while, so I understand the personality. I love the authenticity. That's one of
Mhm.
the greatest things that I'll always remember about
I
my
never saw
friends in
you.
New York.
I
Hmm?
never saw you. Where were you? I never saw you.
I used to work in Harlem at Upper Manhattan Medical Group. That was in
Oh,
the 80s. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, right on Amsterdam Avenue.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would go
that's
there for,
funny that you know Amsterdam.
yeah, because that's where my parents would take me there for my doctor appointments. Right there on
Oh,
150th.
that's such a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work under Dr. Haney there, and I used to take the A train.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so awesome. So, so more questions for you, my friend.
I know. Fire away.
So, what's the most interesting place you've ever lived or visited?
Um, let's see. It's the state capitol building in Austin, Texas.
Hmm.
That was very interesting because it looked a lot like the state capital of DC, except it's in Austin, which is our state capital of Texas. And I remember back in those days, it was in the early 80s. I
Mhm.
had a college friend of mine who had already graduated from my college and was living in Houston already, and we hooked
Yes.
up. We hooked up, and he had a car, I didn't, so we made a trip to go to Austin. And I remember we went into the state capitol
Mhm.
and looked up at that dome, which had was very very beautiful looking.
Mhm.
And at some point, you can actually go into the state capitol and look down and see the people doing their work.
Mm.
You can't do that
That
now,
is
but back in those days, you can do that, and you have to be very quiet because they're busy working.
interesting. Interesting. Well, I could see it why you call that an interesting place that you've ever visited.
Yeah,
And Austin, Texas, it's a very creative city, I would say, right?
it is. It is. I love it.
So, I know that you've often invited me to go into Noni's room, karaoke room,
Hmm.
and I appreciate it because I think music is something that is therapeutic and so soothing for us, right? So, what's your go-to karaoke song?
The most recent song, I believe it was this past Friday night, and I think I had her Noni to play "Happy" by Pharrell.
Mm,
I'm so happy da 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 da, because we got to be happy these days. I mean, people aren't happy like they used to. They're
mhm.
angry, they're upset, they're divided. It's just too much negativity in the world.
I agree with you. I think it's so important to we could change our emotions and we there's so many things that we could be happy for.
Absolutely. That you're awake every single day. Be happy for that.
And that I get to talk to my friend Kenny.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was dreading it all day.
Really, I've been looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it.
I know. You asked me several months earlier, remember? You asked me once before.
Mhm.
And what did I say?
You said no. And I said, "Okay."
Yes, you
Maybe another day, right? And
did. Yeah.
this happens to be the day. Yay!
Yay.
So if you could time travel, my sisters and I, we go to the Comic Con, and sometimes we dress as time travelers.
Mhm.
If you could time travel, where would you go?
Wow. Okay, I wrote this down so I won't forget. Um, to the future. Yeah, the future. Just to see
Mm,
how the world has evolved um, from where it is right now. Things are better, maybe people more at peace, at ease, less suffering,
mm.
just in the future. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right. The future will be a time of peace, and I'm looking forward to that. So,
me too. Me too.
so I love what you do and how you are very happy in what you do. And you mention it a lot that you've been at your place of work for many, many years. And so there had to be something to inspire you, right? So, what inspired you to pursue your career that you're in at the moment?
It was all by accident. I was okay. It's a story behind this, so it may take a few moments to spit it all out. Um,
Hmm.
I went to school in upstate New York, in Rochester, New York. I went to
Yes.
I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, studying biology, going
Hmm.
going for my BS degree in biology. And I was in my last year, and I had taken all the necessary courses, for the credits requirements to graduate. But I had
Hmm.
some free time to take some courses before I graduated. So I figure, okay, let me see what's available that I can take. Something interesting. So back in those days, you had a booklet of all the courses listed. There's no computer or anything else like that. So I went through the booklet of courses to see what I can take.
Mhm.
And I saw something that said Introduction to Electron Microscopy. And it had a picture of a cell with the nucleus and things in the cytoplasm and a brief description about what it is. And it seemed very interesting. So something told me, okay, it's in science.
Mhm.
I love it. It is microscopy. So let me take the course. So I took the course
Mhm.
and I did very, very well at it. And I remember the instructor, Dr. Thomas Frederick, because I do remember
Uh-huh.
his name. And he mentioned to everybody in the class, he said that you can make a living doing this. At the time when I was taking the course, I just thought I'm just taking a course, just something extra knowledge to learn something. But when he said that you can actually make a living doing this, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I just had an epiphany moment. This guy just told me I can make a living doing this. Because at the time when I was going for my degree,
Mhm.
I had no idea what I wanted to do with the degree other than just wear a lab coat and work in a research lab.
Mhm.
That was my dream, just to be a scientist, because I've always had an interest in science since I was very, very young. And when he said that, okay, that's what I'll do when I graduate. I will do electron microscopy for a living. That's what he said. Okay, so I figured, great. So right before I graduated,
Mhm.
I went to the job placement center. Again, they had like a booklet of places where you can go look for positions in your chosen field. So I'm looking for electron microscopy. So the booklet says the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston and Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. So I'm thinking to myself, you mean to tell me I have to go all the way down to Texas for a job in electron microscopy? That's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
22, 23 years old. I only know what they told me, not knowing hindsight that EM is all over the place. I didn't know that the book said go to Texas. I said, okay, I guess I got to go to Texas. I already had preconceived notions about what Texas was all about because I've seen those movies. I've seen those movies about Texas,
Mhm.
the cowboys, the cactus, the saloons, the tumbleweed, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
That's what I thought Texas was all about. Gunsmoke, Bonanza. Remember those two shows?
Yes, yes.
That's what I pictured Texas.
Mhm.
So so I graduated, and my parents came up, and then and their friends came up and saw me graduate. And then after the graduation, we drove over to Niagara Falls, which is not too far from Rochester. We stayed there for one day and then went across the Rainbow Bridge to Toronto and had my graduation dinner there to celebrate my graduation from college.
Yay. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Awesome.
'cause I was the first in the family to graduate from college.
That is great. I know your mom was very proud and still is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So all that was done. Then I made it back to New York. Then I have to, start finding work. So my cousin,
Mhm.
who's 2 years older than me, he went to the University of Rochester, the George Eastman School of Music, and he graduated with a PhD in music theory.
Mhm.
And his family lives in the Bronx. And at the time, my parents lived in Manhattan in a duplex apartment. And he came over to visit like he would do every so often. And we were talking at the dining room table about heading down to Texas. And I'm thinking, I said, Leslie, should I go down to Texas to go for this career in EM? And
Mhm.
he said, sure, go for it.
Mhm.
So I decided to. come down to Texas, and I did my research. Remember, there's no Google or anything else like that. All I knew
Mhm.
was that it would take me 2 days to get there by bus, 3 days to interview, and then 2 days to come back to New York. So I bought a 7 day ticket from either Greyhound or Continental Trailways to get to Texas and then back. And
Mhm.
that's what I did. I didn't want to fly. I wanted to take the bus so I can see what the countryside looked like. And I was very enlightened as to what I saw on my way down to Texas from New York City.
So
Because I
what
thought,
what
well, I thought New York City was the epicenter of the world. I thought
Mhm.
everything would look like New York. Cities should look like that.
Mhm.
They all look like that. I didn't know in the South you have many cities that look like that, that have skyscrapers. Because I remember going through Birmingham, Alabama. They had a
Mhm.
downtown. I was very surprised. Um, Mobile, Alabama, I think had a mini downtown. New Orleans had a downtown. So I was very, very surprised.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then we cross over to Texas. Then I see Houston at a distance. And I'm seeing, oh my gosh, all these tall buildings. I never thought I would see tall
Wow.
buildings south of the Mason Dixon line. And I was so disappointed when I got to the bus station in downtown Houston. I didn't see any cowboys. I didn't see any horses. I didn't see any saloons. I didn't see any tumbleweeds. I didn't see any of that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I just saw a whole downtown with sidewalks and everything. So I made it there. Then I had to take another bus from downtown Houston to Galveston, Texas, which is an island off the main coast of Texas.
Yes.
So I first went to UTMB in Galveston because that's what the booklet said. They may have a position there in EM.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I got there and they knew, oh, that's right. Before I went down there, I wrote to both of those places. I did a cover letter and a resume using a typewriter, if you know what that is.
Of course.
Well, you may be too young to know what a typewriter is. I don't know. So I typed my resume and cover letters to these two places, and they both wrote back to me and told me to come down for a visit, like as if I'm going to be in the damn neighborhood, 1,500 miles away in New York. I'm going to just mosey on down to Texas for an interview.
Mosey.
Yeah.
That's a
So
Texan word.
mosey, it is. Oh, my word. So, so I made it there, and I know they knew what I was looking for because I wrote to them, and they told me to come to see them, so they knew what I was specifically looking for.
Mhm.
Position in electron microscopy. When I got there, you know what they said?
What?
They said, sorry, there's no position in electron microscopy, but we have a booklet of other positions that you might be interested in. So they had like a 3 ring binder notebook of
Mhm.
job descriptions that you can, go through, see what you may like. And I went through it. I didn't like any of it.
Mhm.
It interest me. So I left UTMB, took the bus back to downtown Houston, made it to the Texas Medical Center,
Mhm.
found a hotel about a block away from the Texas Medical Center, and I went over to Baylor College of Medicine because that was my second place why I came down to Texas in the first place.
Mhm. Mhm.
Went to the human resource office, and the lady set me up with 5 interviews.
Ooh-wee. Awesome.
Yes, from 9 that morning until about 3 in the afternoon. But the last position was a position in electron microscopy. I knew that's the one I,
Ooh.
yeah. So there was an opening there. So I had to start from the beginning to work my way down. So I was getting really hungry for it. All these were just appetizers, right? I'm trying to get to the course.
Awesome.
So I'm just nibbling my way down from the first from the first interview and taught my way down to that last position, which was the
Mhm,
EM position. And I remember the guy very well, Dr. David Spector. He was in the Department of Pharmacology,
mhm,
studying dinoflagellates, which is algae with two flagella swimming in water. That's what he was
mhm.
studying using the electron microscope. So,
Nice.
yes, I got to meet him, and he was from the New York City area as well,
Mm,
which was very nice.
yes.
And basically, what he did was he quizzed me on the electron microscopy. And remember, I had just graduated, what, 2 months earlier, took the course in EM, and I got A's in those courses. So anything
Uh-huh.
he asked me, I spit it out without any hesitation.
Yay.
So that was very easy to do. And he gave me a tour of his lab. It was a very
Mhm,
small lab. And then it was over and done with within maybe 20 minutes, something like that.
mhm,
Shook his hand, and then I left, went to the hotel, and it felt good. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll take the bus back to New York. So while I'm waiting to hear from somebody, keep looking for work in New York. Because I thought that's
mhm,
what you're supposed to do. You interview, and while you're waiting for them, you keep looking for other things so you find something. So that's what the plan was. It didn't exactly go that way.
mhm.
So it turned out even better. So the next day, my college friend that I told you who was already down in Houston already,
Yes.
he had majored in mechanical engineer, and he was working for an engineering company. And I had told him that I was in Houston, I had my job interview, and I needed to ride back to the bus station. So he agreed to come from his apartment in West Houston to my hotel room to pick me up to take me back to the bus station.
Okay.
He was there when the phone rang. I said hello, and then Miss So and So says, Kenneth, Dr. Spector would like to hire you.
Yay.
I was not expecting it. I thought maybe days later, or I may not hear from them at all.
Mhm.
I didn't know what to tell her. I'm serious. I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't tell her yes right away. I told her something like, "Can I call you back?" Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
said,
hilarious.
well, it's the truth. I said, "Can I call you back?" Because I was not
Uh-huh.
expecting a call to say you got a job. I mean, less than 12 hours before, I was interviewing with this person, and
Mhm,
the very next day, I'm about to leave, and I got a job offer already. So I called my parents, and I was talking to my mom. I said,
mhm,
"Mother, I already have a job. I don't know what to do. Should I go home and come back, or should I stay? What should I do?"
uh-huh.
So she says, Ken, just stay there. We'll wire you money through Western Union. Just start your job. And that's how everything started, my career.
Yay. That's a happy story. And
Yes.
you've been there ever since, right?
Well, not at that institute. I was with Baylor for about 5 years until I
Mhm.
started at my present job for, I'll tell you how many years later. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Well, our friends and your friends have some messages, so I'm going to read them off to you, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Crispy says, "I can savor the flavor of the awesomeness." And Peter Mulfer says, "This is awesome." And Marcello Arcela says, "Team Live."
Thank
Team
you.
Live.
Uh,
And Noni Bironi says, "Savor the flavor in the awesomeness in this."
um,
Everybody's saying your brand.
yes.
And Marcello says, "Hey, Kenneth." And Tamrat says, "Hello." Marcello says, uh, oh, he says to Tamrat, "Hello" as well. Uh, Julia Lechner says, "Hello, tuning in from Hollywood, California."
Ooh.
Hey, you're not too far from me, Julia. We need to connect over here. Crispin Crispy says, "No need, ah." And Tamrat says, "Savor the flavor plus."
Mm.
And Marcelo says, "Hola, Angelica Corral." Hola, Marcelo. Jay
Ooh.
Pasqua says, "Kenny quiet? What does that even look or sound like?"
Well, I was shy. I really was when I was young.
I believe you because I was shy when I was growing up too, and sometimes I could be shy. Oh, look, Domenico says, "I can't believe Kenneth Dunner Jr. used to be a shy guy."
I know. I know.
And then Jay says, "We would be missing out." And then Peter says, "And now you're not afraid to speak up."
Damn right.
Crispy says, "KDJ bringing joy to the whole world." Ah, see,
Aw,
look at you, my brother.
I came in to say that. You owe
Oh my
me. You owe me.
goodness. Caesar Alcantara says, "Yay, Kenny, you're phenomenal with Angelica." Woo!
You can.
We need to do more of these.
Ah,
Divine, thank you, Caesar. Um, Tamrat says, "Human heart is a good place. What do you think?"
that sounds
And then
delicious.
he and having a human heart is a good thing. That's where we show our love and
Yes,
happiness
absolutely.
and joy.
Yeah.
And Divine says, "Hola, beautiful friends. Hola, beautiful Divine. Good to see you." And Charito says, "Hello, my Angelica Corral and my Kenneth Denner Jr. siblings at
Wow.
LinkedIn."
From the Philippines, you know. She's from the Philippines.
Yeah. Savor Peter says, "Savor the flavor and the awesomeness of this event." And Caesar says, "Let's go, Tamrat, Kenny, and Angelica. I have great hearts for creating joy for everyone." Yeah,
Oh,
that's nice.
yeah.
We all need that, right?
Yes, we do.
And Divine says, "Kenny chilling." You chilling? You look like you're chilling there, Kenny.
Yes, I am. I'm chilling. All right. I am.
And then she has a little ha. She put a lol there.
Oh,
And
what's this?
Tamrat laughed at that. Caesar says, "Savor the flavor, Kenny. We need to have Ollie here." And I think that's what he says, yeah. And then Divine says, "Because we happy, yes." Yes. Oh,
Absolutely.
Peter says for you to sing.
Sing. Oh, that's interesting.
Ah. And Anjon says, "Hi to the two musketeers. Do well." Thank you, Anjon. Thanks
Thank you.
everybody for your comments. They're all really nice. L.A. Morajon says, "Hello everyone." Hi, L.A. Morajon. And let's see. Miracle da Costa says, "Kenny, the one event you didn't send a reminder. I still found you."
I thought I sent him one. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, the good thing is that it's on replay, so you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
Oh, thanks, Divine. Angelica's angel sister. Thank you. And Peter says, "Shocker" for the invite. And Tamrat says, "No" for Kenneth means yes to the future is here, virtual reality. Lisa
Ooh.
Fevik says, Happy Monday, everyone. And Divine says, Kenny may be daddy of LinkedIn. Lol.
Ooh. Thank you.
And let's see. Harold says, fellow RIT alumni. Hi,
Harold?
Kenny. Yeah, Harold Grabowski.
He must be from, yeah, went to school up at RIT, maybe. Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's connect.
Anja, oh, you want to go to the next question? Let me just go with Anjan's last thing. He says, one relaxed Ken, not a care in the world. Love this.
You have to.
Okay, back to the questions because
Okay.
time waits for no one, right, my friend?
Yes, it's already 8:30 my time.
Okay, well, let's see. Next question is, can you share a pivotal moment in your life that shaped who you are today?
Oh, well, I kind of mentioned that earlier already about my mother teaching me to speak up.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what was the pivotal moment that shaped me into the person that I am, to not be shy, to speak up, to not be afraid, to always take chances,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, be brave. And I did all of that, knowing that I left New York not knowing anybody down here in Texas. My family, most of my family is up in New York, and I have some other family members, as far south as South Carolina on my mother's side.
Hmm.
But everybody's from um, east of the Mississippi. I was the only one that ventured this far south. And I even told my parents that when I did grow up, I didn't want to live in the South, because I remember when I was growing up with my two
Hmm.
other brothers, we would go down south to see my grandparents and family on my mother's side in South
Hmm.
Carolina, and I can remember how hot it was. And I
Mm.
told myself, when I grow up, I'm not going to live in a hot climate. And guess what the hell I am? It's even hotter. It's even hotter. That's ridiculous.
It is hotter in Texas.
Yeah,
I must say that is
yeah,
funny that
it is.
you ended up in a place that's hotter. But you know, the
Yes,
cool thing is you're with all the LinkedIn. There's a ton of LinkedIn friends in Houston,
yes. I met
which
quite a
is
few.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So, how do you handle stress
Oh, that's very
and main?
easy.
Mhm.
That's very easy. Take deep breaths, just like that. I would do walks. I'll
Mhm.
play tennis when it's not so hot outside.
Uh-huh.
Um, get together with some friends for coffee, for dinners, that kind of thing, to kind of decompress. Listen to music, watch my favorite housewife shows on Bravo.
So, tennis. Tennis is cool, man. I used to play that. Now we have my sister and I. We have a badminton game, and I've heard that tennis and badminton are like the number one exercises. And
You said,
I'm wondering if it's because you're using your upper and swinging. I don't know what it must be.
really? You play badminton?
Uh huh. Mhm.
Oh my goodness. And you got the little outfit, the skirts, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did have one of those little cute little white skirts, little flare white
Yeah,
skirts, right?
pleated skirts,
Hmm?
right? They're pleated. Weren't they pleated?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, you crack me up, Kenny. So, this I'm having a lot of fun, by the way. This is a lot of fun.
Okay,
Enjoying
good.
this. I'm enjoying this. I'm sure
Yeah,
everybody else is too.
Yes.
Um, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received, and how has it influenced you?
Okay. Um. Oh. Pursue my passion.
Hmm.
Yeah. Pursue my passion. Whatever makes you happy. Just pursue it. Because I remember when I was growing up, when my mother knew I wanted to study biology, and she
Hmm.
would tell me, "Be a doctor, be a doctor, be a doctor." And I'm saying, "No, I don't want to be a doctor, be a doctor, be a doctor. I just want to be a scientist." Because
A
that'd be a
scientist,
doctor.
a scientist.
Yes, yes. So, and she was the one that kind of helped me with my passion because I remember when I was very young, and she knew I loved science.
Hmm.
So she'll buy me a chemistry kit. So I'll be playing mad scientists in the house with the different chemicals.
Hmm.
And um, I remember we would go to the store and you get this kit where you can put together animals and then the internal organs. You paint them different colors.
Hmm.
I did that. Um, what else? Oh, she even bought me a microscope,
Mm.
a little miniature microscope, so I get to see the microbes in action. So she helped me foster that, my love for science. And I can also
Hmm.
remember in the sixth grade, it was in intermediate school,
Okay.
and we had a science fair. And I was so proud of myself because I was in the science fair and everybody had their scientific projects out on the table and stuff. And I'm standing right behind mine with the
Hmm.
rat in the dissecting tray, all spread out, and then you have the different organs there, and the formaldehyde was smelling like, and
Hmm.
and and she stomached all of that, but she knew that was what I wanted to do.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yes,
So she set you up for success.
yes, yes.
And that's a good story that you shared for those who are parents or grandparents on how we can set our children up for success by giving them the tools they need, and that's what your mom did. Yeah, the smell of formaldehyde.
It's not pretty, but she knew that I love science, and she allowed me to develop it and all of that stuff. So it worked out good for me.
Look at you now, my friend. Look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now. Look at me now. I did my hair and my face all for you today.
Yeah, well, you did it for the every for everybody. You
Yeah,
and you
I, I
you
cut
did
my
a
hair
you did a
myself.
good job. Hmm?
Yes, I cut my hair myself.
It looks good. You did a wonderful job.
Yes, I did the beard, the mustache. I did my hair,
Mhm.
not the eyebrows, but I did everything else.
Oh my goodness. You are too funny, my friend. Yeah, you did well. You did good, my brother.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome. You're welcome. So who has been the most influential person in your journey?
My former director.
Mhm.
When I mentioned maybe 15 minutes ago, when I first started at Baylor, I was there for about 7 years doing electron microscopy. I
Mhm.
was in different EM labs from 1981 through April of 1988. I first started with David Spector in the
Mhm.
Department of Pharmacology, working with dinoflagellates. And then I left Baylor after 2.5 years, went to UT Health Science Center for 1 year because I
Mhm.
thought I needed to broaden my skills and not be so limited just doing EM. So I worked in a lab where I work with radioisotopes, studying the alpha fetoprotein levels in rat blood. So I had to learn
Okay.
how to dissect animals and then process the organs and for paraffin embedding and sectioning, that kind of stuff. I did that for 1 year
Mm-hmm.
because the the PI only had the position for 1 year. He can only fund it for 1 year. So I had to go back to Baylor doing EM,
Mm-hmm.
the Department of Neurology, and that's where I learned other skills. She was working with neuron cells in culture, so she would grow the cells on cover slips, which I had never done before with my first job. I was working with cell suspensions, and in her lab, I was working with cell lines grown on cover slips. So I learned how to do that pretty well. I was with her
Mm-hmm.
a half, then left her, went to the Department of Otorhinolaryngology, working with baby chick cochleas, the inner
Mm-hmm.
ear, and I was with him for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to leave him because he decided to move to New Orleans and wanted to take me there with him. But I remember at that 1 year at UT, I went to New Orleans at the World's Fair in 1984, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
all that water across that long bridge between I think Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and the bridge was so low down to the water, it was too much
Mm-hmm.
water. The running joke that I don't like above ankle deep water. So I remember that very well. So I told Dr. Furman, thank you, but no thank you. So I had to find another.
Mm.
So I finally found a job at MD Anderson, and the rest is history.
That's a sounds like it was a wise choice for you because I know, with the climate things happened in New Orleans. I had a friend and her place flooded from Katrina.
Yes, Katrina and
Yeah.
Rita.
Yeah, so you were very observant. Jeremy says Kenneth Dunner, the myth, the legend, and the kind of friend everyone wants, but not everyone has. Kind,
Ooh,
funny, loving, an inspiration for many, striving to be nothing other than himself. I'm happy to be a friend and a connection. Woo! We got a commercial for you.
yes, thank you. Thank
Those are very nice words. I love to hear those words, and I agree with every. I endorse that statement.
you better.
Okay, so Kenny. Oh, and Caesar says Kenny the goat
Ooh,
and the sheep leading the herd and building us one another to guide us to the oasis. Now we can drink.
oh, that's you now. You're busy.
I forgot to put
Phone on
my
mute.
phone on
Mute. Mute.
mute. Yeah, I have it on silent, but it still went through. I need to put it on what is it, airplane mode.
Or off.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I heard some background noises on your side too.
Do you?
Yeah, it sounded like phone was ringing or something. No?
No,
Or
that was you.
leaving a message?
No, that was you.
No. Anyway, I'll take it. So, what is the biggest challenge you're facing in your career right now, and how are you tackling it?
Um, I really don't have any challenges other than I know it's been evolving over the years. Um, because I remember when I was first doing EM, everything was analog and film based because you take the pictures of the samples and you have to remove the negatives, go into the dark room, develop the negatives, and then
Uh-huh.
you develop the prints. So that was back in those days. Now things are digital these days. So I had to evolve with the times, so to speak. So it's not really a challenge. I'm just embracing the change. The change is inevitable.
Yeah, now we have the change of the audio rooms. All
Yeah,
being streamed.
I know. I know.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
But I think it's still working, we're adapting and changing with the times, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, one of my challenges is the phone ringing and me forgetting to put it on silent.
But
But,
you're so
what's hmm?
you're you were so excited to interview me, you forgot to turn off your phone.
Oh, my friend, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you, thank you. What's one piece of advice that you'd give to someone who's starting off in your field?
Okay, I wrote that down. I knew you were gonna ask me that, but you didn't ask me in the order though. You haphazard asking. um, what is it? Ask me again.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting out in your field?
Oh, okay. To pursue their passion, don't give up. Listen to my advice when I give it to them, because I do give a lot of advice. I try to be a mentor to a lot of the up and coming, future doctors. They're postdocs, graduate students, whatever. I
Mhm,
would give them advice. I have to teach them how to think, not
mhm,
rely much on their cell phones. Use your brain to think things through.
mhm.
Um, just absorb as much as you can.
That's great. And I have a friend, her brother's gonna be going to Houston for I think he's studying science, and I thought, "Oh, I gotta connect him with Kenny. Maybe Kenny and him can have a chat."
There's a possibility he could be at the Texas Medical Center.
Yeah, we'll see, we'll see.
When is he coming?
I'm not sure. I got to get back with her, and I haven't seen her for a couple of weeks. So next time I see her, I'll ask her.
Okay,
That would be you are so nice. I knew you would. I knew you would say yes, my friend. You're awesome.
of course. Oh, I know I'm awesome. Thank you. But you can keep saying it
And and everybody keeps telling you that you're awesome. So that's why you know.
and keep telling me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ah, Divine says everything big in Texas. Lol.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, ginormous. The stuff they put on your plate when you're ordering food is ginormous.
Mm. Well, that's a good thing. Erskine says, Kenny laid back with his mind on his leisure and his leisure in his mind. Lol.
Ooh, I love that. Thank you. So
Ah.
poetic.
So, another question is, can you explain a complex concept or trend in your field in simple terms?
Okay. Electron microscopy.
Mhm,
It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. You're
mhm,
using the electron microscope to magnify structures that's very, very small, very, very small. And that's about as simple as I can describe it. Something so minute, you can magnify it to see structures within the cells. That's the only way I can describe it.
wow. Interesting, interesting. So, Annie says Sugar Daddy Kenny is a genius. You know we all love and adore you, my friend. That was
Oh,
and Yadeshwarij says Kenneth, science is a fun game.
it is.
Yeah. So, I love that. I love that. I think science is interesting too. So this is a cool conversation,
Mhm.
and thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. And I finally said yes.
Yes.
You convinced me. It didn't take three strikes. It only took two. You
Thank.
you took my arm. Was it yesterday when you asked me, or the day before?
I think it was the day before.
Yeah, you twisted my arm enough in a gentle way, and I said yes.
Yes. And it's not too bad, huh? It's not so bad.
It could be worse, but it's rather pleasant. Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
good. Good.
Because of you, you make me feel very comfortable, very at ease, and and I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, I feel the same with you, same way with you, my friend. I feel the same way. So, I know that you get a lot of different things coming up because there's always changes in the industry, right? Like for example, you mentioned earlier um how you had to develop the photos from before.
Hmm.
And I remember I used to do that with my when I took my photography class years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
That's how you did it. You developed your own photos in a black room,
mhm,
and if you opened the door, then they got overexposed and that was it,
yep,
right?
yep.
But I think digital just made things so much easier. So thanks for sharing that. How do you stay updated with the latest developments and
Yes,
innovations?
yes, you have to because you want to keep up to date with different techniques,
Hmm.
procedures in sample preparation, or um, different investigators are looking for particular things, and I had to find a way to help them find it. Either they would send me publications of previous experiments, and I tried to what's the word? I tried to duplicate the results,
Hmm.
or I contact Dr. Google. You know who Dr. Google is?
Hmm.
Okay, so Dr. Google can give me some advice as well.
Hmm.
And I also am a member of the Microscopy Society of America.
Nice.
It used to be called Electron Microscopy Society of America because it was just limited to electron microscopy for many many years. Then
Hmm.
they decided to include all microscopy, so not just electron microscopy, but also light microscopy, and different types of microscopy. So I have a it's like a newsletter or something like that every 2 or 3 months called
Hmm.
Microscopy Today, and it would have different articles and different techniques of processing samples. So I get some advice from reading those as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's good to be updated. So, on that note, what technology innovations do you think will have the greatest impact on your industry?
Probably AI, because I really hadn't thought much about AI until April,
Hmm.
because I met someone on LinkedIn in April, and he was the one that mentioned it to me, and I didn't think much of it. I didn't think it was such a big deal,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't want to embrace it because I figure it has nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
But now I know that it is a big deal because it's
Hmm.
everywhere.
Hmm.
And I do remember one particular investigator came to see me, looking at his samples, and he wanted to quantify the mitochondria in the cells, and you can easily do it by eye. You take the picture of the cells and you see the mitochondria, and you can look at them by eye and count them, but it can be very tedious and very laborious,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're taking pictures of like maybe 20, 30 cells, and you want to count all the mitochondria in each of those cells, and there could be as much as 50 mitochondria per cell. It adds up, but
Mm-hmm.
it take you days because your eyes get tired after a while. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
him telling me that there's a software that you can get that's AI related, and you would train the AI to look at the micrograph of the cell, and you train the algorithm to look at the organelles of the mitochondria. So when it sees it, it will count and quantify for him.
Interesting. Interesting. And the mitochondria is in the cell, and I've been reading a lot about the mitochondria and how it helps your body. If you feed it correctly, it can help you be healthier when you take care of your cells, right?
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely,
anyways,
it's important. Have healthy
yes, we got to take care of the mitochondria, people.
absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So, if you had a superpower related to your profession, what would it be, my friend?
Yeah, I wrote that one down. I said I wanted let me write it so I can tell you exactly how I said it. I
Okay.
wanted e- where oh yeah, I want electron microscopic eyes.
Ooh. So
I
that way
just
you don't need.
yeah, I'll stare at something and I can zoom in and look at the mitochondria with my naked eyes.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah. Zzz.
Uh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. Mitochondria, man.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
what would the name of the superhero? We got to think of that one.
Oh. Hmm. I hadn't
Well,
thought that far.
we'll we'll
But,
get we'll get that. We'll go to that one in our next interview.
sure.
So, if your job was a sport, what would it be?
Tennis, of course.
Absolutely. So, how has your industry evolved over the years? You mentioned a little bit about how, when it came to taking the photos, right? And where do you see it
Yes.
heading? Where do you see your industry heading, my friend?
Most likely AI would take over some of the features of the microscope.
Hmm.
How it would analyze the data, most likely. Just like what I mentioned about the investigator wanting to take the pictures and then train the software to count the mitochondria, it's quite
Hmm.
possible that the microscope itself can do that.
Mm. Yeah, I could see where that would alleviate the strain on one's eyes.
Yes.
So, what are common misconceptions about your industry, and that you'd like to address?
Hmm. Misconceptions about science in general.
I guess so. Yeah.
Hmm. Misconceptions. I don't think any real misconceptions, other than maybe people thinking that, how come it takes so long to develop new drugs for cancer or other ailments. Well, it
Hmm.
takes time to do the cell studies, the animal studies, all that takes time, and you need talent also to be able to perform those kind of tasks to figure those things out.
Mhm. Mhm. That makes sense. That makes sense. Can you share an experience that significantly shaped your approach in your field?
You didn't ask me that. That's not on your list. Is that on your list?
It is. There
Oh,
wasn't any.
oh, oh. Can you share an experience that significantly shaped my approach in my field? Yes, you did say
Uh-huh.
that.
Uh-huh.
Um, oh, I wrote it down. Now I got to interpret what I wrote down. I said, coming to my coming to my job, my duties help investigators under. Oh, um, okay, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Okay, because in the beginning, yes, I get it now. In the
Okay.
beginning, I was more of a technician,
Uh-huh.
so I would get the samples and I would process it, and we analyze it under the electron microscope.
Uh-huh.
Now there's a purpose for doing all that because now I'm working at MD Anderson Cancer Center. It's a cancer institute, and we're
Mhm.
trying to, find the answer to cancer to try to get rid of it or how to
Mhm.
treat all that kind of stuff. So what I do, it helped the investigators figure all that out. So they do their experiments and they give me their samples, and then they try to figure out what the results are and how that could translate into possible treatment, possible cures,
Mhm.
or one step closer to the answer, how to figure out cancer. Yeah.
That's a very serious job to have. It's a very serious position because you're dealing with lives, right?
Yes.
So before you looked at it as a technician and now you're helping people. You're
Hmm.
helping save lives and that's wonderful.
Exactly.
Yay, Kenny.
Yes.
So, Kenny, what emerging trend should people be paying attention to right now in in your sector?
Hmm. That's not on your list, is it?
Yes.
On your list?
Uh-huh.
Ask me again. That's not on your list. You made that up.
No, but if you don't want to answer that one, we'll go to. I'll ask you. Who are some thought leaders or influencers in your field
That would
that you
be
that you admire?
yeah, that would be my former director. Yes. Because when I first got there, because she's been in the business for many, many years. She's been there, done that, what I'm doing. Because you have some people who are just directors by title, but
Mhm.
not knowing the nuances of going through the processing of samples and whatnot. She's
Mhm.
been at what I'm doing now, so she understands um, what I'm going through, and she would advise me on things how to deal with people, sometimes difficult people, being diplomatic.
Mhm.
Because when I was just a technician, I didn't have to deal with that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So in the beginning, I was more or less a technician from 88 through 1997. It was
Mhm.
more of a technical type title. Then we became a core facility. So now we
Uh-huh.
charge for the services that we provide, which means that you have more people. You have to deal with different types of personalities, and some people want their results like last week when I just got the samples today.
Mhm. Mhm.
They want it like now, now. And I'm telling them it's not going to be now, now, now. You got to wait. I don't say it quite like that, but you have to be diplomatic with different personalities. So she taught me how to do that.
Mm, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's cool when you have somebody that helped you grow like that, right? So
Absolutely.
what s- thank you. So what message or advice can you convey to our listeners as we wrap up today's episode, my friend?
Uh oh, I wrote it down here. Oh, yes. Pursue your dreams. Live live for yourself. Be yourself. Share what you know with others so they can pass it on to make the world a better place and a smarter place.
Yay. So what's next for you? Any upcoming projects or initiatives, Kenny?
Well, most likely within the next 2 to 4 years, it's going to be over with. You know, I can't work forever, and time's ticking, and no one lives forever. So
Uh-huh.
I do pursue my music because I did take some music lessons many years ago, and I kind of put that at the wayside because you got a job to pay your bills and whatnot, and that takes up a lot of time. So once I don't have to do that anymore, I can pursue the music stuff, and with the AI, it can help me create some fancy schmancy music.
No, I'm looking forward to hearing that. I know you're a creative guy and you'll come up with something amazing. So
Absolutely.
what's one hmm?
I said absolutely.
Yes. So what's one question you've never been asked, but you wish somebody would ask you?
Oh, that's very easy. I wrote that one down, and you'd be very surprised. Okay, where is it? Because I want to read it how I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it. Hmm.
Yeah, I wrote it down because I come on, where is it? Oh, it has to do with the. Oh, okay. Yes. Ask me. Ask me why I don't like the color green
Why don't you like the color green?
because I think it's grotesque. I'll eat it, I'll spend it, and I'll cut it, but I would not wear it.
Okay.
It's my mother's favorite color, but I don't like the color green. But look what's happening here. What color do you see?
I see green there. How did you manage to have green?
I know it's a multicolored jersey that I have. It has
Uh-huh.
blue, yellow, green, and red, but I don't like the
Uh-huh.
color. I don't know why I don't like the color green. I just know I just don't like green. I'll eat it because it's a vegetable. I'll spend
Mhm.
it money.
Mhm.
I'll cut it because it's grass,
Mhm.
but I would not wear it on my body as clothes. I just won't.
We're gonna have to cut that sleeve off.
I know I'm strange. I know I don't like the color green. I don't like above ankle deep water.
Oh my goodness. You crack me up, my friend. I have to say I had a really good time today doing this with you, my friend Kenny. And I'm sure a lot we there's so many comments here. And
Let's
I
hear 'em.
couldn't reach all of them. We already went over with 8 minutes, but when you're
That's
having
okay.
fun, time flies.
Yes. Yes.
So I look forward to another one, and you're gonna get this a
You mean
copy
a
of
part
this
two?
interview.
You mean a
Hmm?
part two? Something? You mean a part two?
You got to do part two, Kenny part two.
You never know.
Yeah, I could wish, right?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Any last words on how people could contact you, or how they could find you here on LinkedIn, or any last thoughts, my brother?
They know where to find me.
LinkedIn, LinkedIn.
That's
All
all I'm
right,
saying.
my friend.
They know where to find me.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, I think that's it for the show today. I had a splendid time, and I look forward to our next conversations. So I
Absolutely.
love, yes. So I love everyone who came to see the program today. Everyone who came to support Kenny, thank you so much. And for supporting both of us, actually, we really appreciate all that you have done, and loved all of your comments. Your comments made us laugh a lot. And really, we really love all of you guys and appreciate all of you for what you do. Right, my friend?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, without further ado, goodbye, everybody. Mwah, mwah. Bye bye.
Savor
Have a
the
good night.
flavor.
Savor the flavor. There you go. Oh, we forgot to mention your cheesecake. Well,
Oh, what
that's for
about it?
part two. We'll
Oh,
talk about that.
okay. Absolutely.
All right, my friend. All right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.